Gil Brandt is with us. Gil, of course, with the Dallas Cowboys for 3 decades and now with NFL.com. Gil, was it a good idea? You've been to just about every one of these. Was it a good idea bringing this game here?
Yeah, I think it is, Bill. And I'll tell you why I say that. You know, I think we have so many loyal fans. And the fact that if people that support the league and the teams, you know, don't get a chance to see the environment of what takes place, I think it's a good idea. And, you know, I don't think it hurts or helps either team. I think that, you know, the snow blows the same way for both teams. The raindrops come down the same way. And the only thing I think that you're concerned about is wind. You know, I don't care how cold it is. I don't care how much it's snowing or raining. I think wind. But, you know, I have no problem. I mean, we lost the game that was the coldest ever played. And, you know, I think people still talk about it. So, no, I have no problem whatsoever.
You just referred, and that was my next question. You've been a part of 2 of the most memorable cold games in NFL history, the Ice Bowl being number 1, and then I'll talk about the other one in a moment. Talk about, for folks who have forgotten about December 31st, 1967, Lambeau Field.
Well, Bill, let me tell you what took place. You know, we arrived there on a Saturday, and we worked out at Lambeau Field, and it was a nice day. It was about 30 degrees or so. The ground was fine. That night we went to a little league party out at the Oneida Country Club, and it was still nice. The next morning I was on my way down to devotional about 8 o'clock in the morning, and Ralph Neely says 16 below. I said, come on, Ralph, don't start those stories. He said, yeah, it's really 16 below. And I walked downstairs to the counter, the check-in desk, and I said, what's the temperature? And she said 16 below. And over in the corner I saw 3 bus drivers, and the bus drivers had these big old boots on. So I walked over to the bus driver. I said, where do you get those boots? He said, Prangies. I said, can you take me there? Not open on Sunday. I said, does anybody have a size 12? And one guy says, yeah. I said, how much do those cost you? He said, $10. I said, let me ask you this. If I gave you $25, would you let me rent them for this afternoon? He said, yeah. And so I started by renting a pair of boots. And we got, and it's the only time that I can ever remember that we didn't have people want to be on the sidelines. You know, always everybody, can I get a sideline pass? Nobody wanted any part of it, is what it was. And when we went out to warm up, there wasn't a person in the stands. When we came back in, there wasn't an empty seat, is what it was. And you know, outside of the fact that we lost, and one of the reasons we lost was that during the middle of the year, I lost a recruiting contest on the back from Yale. I can't think of his name now, but Green Bay and the Cowboys were both interested in trying to sign him. I lost him to Green Bay because he thought that they had a better chance of getting to the Super Bowl than we did.
Wasn't Chuck Mersine, was
Chuck
it?
Mersine, yeah.
Okay,
thank you. And I lost Chuck, and he made the big 13-yard play against us that killed us, you know, is what it was. But, you know, this is a game that for 200 years they'll be talking about it.
Now, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I thought it was I thought it was great. You know, I thought that they didn't have an advantage over us. We didn't have an advantage over them. So I thought it was great. Now, you know, the big concern, I guess, is people sitting in the stands. But, you know, we don't have concerns about guys going out skiing when it's 10 below zero, as an example. So, you know, to me, I'm glad they're playing the game here.
Now, the other low-temperature game, it wasn't below freezing, but the coldest Super Bowl on record was Super Bowl 36 in New Orleans. Dallas and Miami was, 39 degrees that day?
Yeah, it was. And there was another one that was cold like that in New Orleans. It was Minnesota and Pittsburgh. And it was like 38 degrees. And of course, the one that you're referring to, it wasn't very cold because we won. 24-3 is what it was. And in fact, I was with Shula, or on the phone with Shula today, and we talked about that game. But you know, I don't know if anybody was cold that day on the Cowboy side.
Shift gears a moment. The NFL draft's coming up, and of course, our guy Johnny Manziel. There's talk that Houston might make him the #1 pick in the draft. What do you think?
I think they're stealing something if they do. I think the guy's going to be a heck of a football player. I came out recently with a top 50. He was my top player. You know, Bill, this guy, a housewife can see he's special. And I think all you have to do, I happened to see him play the second game he played against SMU in Dallas. You know, he makes plays that are unbelievable. You know, the best way to describe him, he's Fran Tarkenton, but better. I think he's going to make an excellent pro football player. And I think if the Houston Texans draft him, I think he'll make that team go from 2 wins to 10 wins in a hurry, I'll tell you that.
If you were still drafting for the Cowboys with Romo's situation such as it is with his back problems, would you draft a quarterback, or do they need to look at defense?
Well, they really need to look at other things. But if you have an opportunity to draft a quarterback, see, you're not always down here. And some years there's not a quarterback available. As an example, Houston could have been there last year, and there was no quarterback. And Manuel is like the 16th player picked in the draft, whatever it is. So as you know, on our football team, we always had quarterbacks. You know, we drafted them every year. In fact, one year we drafted 2. And DeBerg, I think, ended up playing for 13 years. Unfortunately, it wasn't for us. It was for somebody else. But, you know, we had Meredith, and we had Morton, and we had Staubach, and we had a guy named Danny White that wasn't bad. And people forget how good he was. The unfortunate thing is when you follow God, unless you win, you're not quite good enough.
When will the Cowboys be back here, Gil? Do you think they're close or far away?
I think that in today's competitive, balanced league, and I think we see it all the time, 5 and 6 teams going from last place to first place. The key is to draft well so you can control your cap problems. You know, you've got to have a bunch of guys in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round make it. So you can use those people, kind of like Seattle is doing right now. You know, Seattle's middle linebacker, Wagner, 2nd round choice, not paying him a lot of money. Their quarterback, 3rd round choice, not paying him a lot of money. And so when you have a situation, when you have players that you can input on your 53 that aren't really expensive players, then you've got a good chance, provided you have a quarterback.
So is Jerry overpaying, spending money the wrong way?
Well, I don't know enough about it, what their philosophy is about it. You know, I think you have to be there to try to understand.
But he's got a lot of dead money on his roster.
Oh, yeah, he does. And he's got $30 million he's got to do something with, you know. And what do? Do you waive a Ware as an example? Do you waive an Austin? And, you know, Williams, as an example, is a good replacement, I think, for Austin. I don't know who you replace Ware with. Because I don't know if there's a guy, unless it's the defensive end from Boise State. You remember got hurt at training
Crawford,
camp?
yeah, Crawford.
Last year. I don't know if it's him or not, but you know, somehow or other, I think that they'll dig through it.